Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to tackle this guy here. So this is my Epipremnum pinnatum skeleton key, and as you can see it is looking very bare at the bottom half. For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't know this, but this guy got root rot a few months ago, so I transplanted it into fresh potting soil. I cut off all the rotten roots, but unfortunately it did lose a lot of its lower leaves. The roots are actually growing in really nicely, but I just don't really like the look of this bare stem. So what I'm going to do is something pretty drastic. I am going to cut this plant completely to, I don't know, probably about here, and I am going to remove it from this fern fibre pole if I can, and I'm going to basically start it again as the top cutting and pray that it all goes well. So we are in winter time, so it's not the most ideal time to be doing this, but I'm a very impulsive plant parent, so when I think of something that I want to do, I do it. So basically what I'm going to try and do is I'm actually probably going to leave this top half on the fern fibre pole and then maybe extend the pole with a grow pole. So I'm going to extend the fern fibre pole with one of our new grow poles. These are awesome because you can adjust the D shape or the depth of it depending on how much substrate you want to fill it with. And because I want to extend it on top of this, I'm going to build it up to the same diameter as the fern pole and then just sit it on, so when it keeps growing its roots will start growing into this, and then I can chop it off, remove the top, and then start a fresh plant on a grow pole. So that is what I'm going to be doing in today's video. So let's get started. First off, I will show you our new grow poles. So they are plant thingy grow poles. They come flat like this, and then you build them up to make a grow pole. And as you can see on the side here, there are different slots which you can slide these tabs into. The size of your pole depends on what slot you put your tab in. So that is sort of the biggest, and then that is the sort of smallest. So yeah, I'm going to build this up depending on the size of my fern fibre pole. But first I am going to cut this plant and get it all ready to actually put this on. So basically what I'm going to do first is I'm going to gently peel off these aerial roots, because these aerial roots will hopefully become its new soil roots. So I'm just going to gently pry them off the fern pole. So I'm going to make a cut here, and then this is going to be my top cutting. What size pot do I want to put it in? Maybe that size? Yeah, I think that'll be perfect. So as you can see here, I have made the cut. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to cut this fern fibre pole down just with a little hacksaw, and then remove this top piece, and that is going to be my new plant. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the bottom piece. I might just leave it as is, and some of these nodes should start growing. I don't know how well you can see because the sun is shining, but you can see there are lots of new roots starting to grow and develop. So this bottom half of the plant should be fine, and I should actually be able to get a new plant off it if this top one doesn't work. So I'm going to go outside and I'm going to hacksaw the fern fibre pole off, and I will be back when that is done. Ta-da! So I will leave this as is, and hopefully it will continue to grow and give me a new plant in case this doesn't turn out. But I'm just going to clean up the bottom cut because the hacksaw got it a little bit. A fresh cut is better to have than a real jaggedy cut, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this end callus over before I pot it up. But yeah, that is what she is looking like. I'm going to be putting it in a 12.5 centimeter pot, and I'm going to hopefully be able to wrap these roots around like that, and then it is going to look something like this. And I'm going to plant it in straight tree fern fibre, which is the same as what this pole is made out of. So it's going to be, so I'm going to keep this pole into the pot, fill it around with tree fern fibre, and then hopefully these roots will turn into soil roots and this plant will keep growing. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this to callus over, and then I will come back and we can pot it up. Okay, while this is actually callusing over, I am going to make up this grow pole and fit it onto the top. So when I plant this up with fern fibre, I can also fill the pole up with fern fibre as well. So I'm just going to use this as the pole guide, so I know what size to make it. I'm assuming it's going to be the smallest one. Okay, no, it's actually the second to smallest one, so that's good. So basically you just slide the tabs into these slots. I like to make sure they're all slid into the slots first, and then you just go along and click the tabs in. I found that's sort of the easiest way to make them up, and that is what it looks like. So I think I might pot the plant up first, and then I'll have a stable base to then sit this onto. And what I might actually do as well is I might put a bit of Velcro around to hold these little legs onto the pole as well, just for a bit more stability. I'm very excited. I really hope this works, because this is probably one of my favorite plants, and I was very, very sad when I noticed it had something wrong with it. Turns out it was root rot, but it has matured so well for me. It was just a tiny little plant when I got it, and honestly this fern fibre pole has done it really well. So I'm hoping the fern fibre filled grow pole will do just as good a job as keeping it nice and mature. I was even contemplating cutting the growth tip off, but I might sort of wait and see how it progresses before I do that. Sometimes, in the past, when I have cut a climbing plant that's mature on a fern fibre pole, the first leaf it usually puts back out is very small, but then it goes straight back into the big mature leaves, because it knows that it has a stable climbing support, so it can support the big mature leaves. So we'll see how it goes. If the first leaf comes out a bit naff, which I know it will, I'll wait till at least the second leaf. If the second leaf is still pretty crappy, I'll come back and cut it down so it can sort of regrow from this thick mature part of the plant. So that end is actually looking pretty dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pop this up. I will bring it back and show you when I'm done. So this is what it is looking like. I have put the grow pole on top with fern fibre in it. I have potted it up in tree fern fibre. Now it's not super stable because I'm not compacting the fern fibre down around the roots. I want it to remain nice and airy, lots of oxygen in there, so there is no more chance of rot. And I'm going to be watering this plant in with a solution of Clonex Clone Solution by Growth Technology and their new Root Zone, which is going to really give this plant a great kickstart at growing a decent root system. So as you can see here, I have just used some Velcro to hold these little feet against the pole, which just adds a bit more security. And there it is, all filled with fern fibre. And then I will train this new growth up the new grow pole when it hopefully starts growing. So I'm going to go and mix up the solution now, and I'm going to give it a water, and then I will show you where it is going to live and hopefully thrive. So I'm also going to water this bottom half with the same solution, because obviously this half is still growing its roots back in as well. And I'm going to make sure I water the pole, because these roots that are attached to the pole can actually help absorb some of the nutrients and help the plant grow healthier and stronger. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. I think that concludes this video. As always, I will keep you guys updated with the progress. You may see another video in a few months' time of the update, and fingers crossed it is positive. If it's not positive, I will still share it anyway because that is part of the process. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like planty content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!